Well, while the Senate returns to work today, there's progress on this new plan to raise the debt ceiling. And Senator Reid said last night that negotiators need more time.
I've spoken to the White House quite a few times this evening. They've asked me to give everyone as much time as possible to reach an agreement, if one can be reached.
Joining me from Capitol Hill, Democratic Congressman John Garamendi of California. Representative Garamendi, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
It is a good morning, and delighted to be with you.
It is a good morning. Tell me why.
Well, because the sun came up this morning, we have an opportunity to do some good things for America, and we got to be really careful how we go about doing that. The wrong program put together could be devastating. The right program could be good. For example, we do need to deal with the deficit, but we have to do it in a way that really protects those that are most vulnerable in our society, the seniors, those that are dependent upon Medicare and Medicaid. And we got to make sure we educate our kids, do the research. So we got to do this thing right. We have an opportunity to do it. We'll see what happens. It's a tough go. A very, very tough situation because the other team is determined to, I think, really roll back the very nature of our country and the kinds of things that have made us very successful.
Can you categorize what the last 24 to 48 hours have been like there in the House? I mean, just the tenor of things.
Well, we're getting down to the end of the days that are possible. The timeline is shrinking, and people begin to get tense. And we certainly saw that on the floor. Speaker Boehner, when he spoke on the floor, was really very, very tense, very uptight, and angry in some ways. Nancy Pelosi spoke, and she, too, spoke very forcefully. So we're getting down to crunch time, which you would expect things to be tense. But there's really a necessity here to put all of this behind us. This is the first time in really anybody can remember, perhaps 4 or 5 decades, that the debt limit has been used by either the Democrats or the Republicans as a lever point to force into the national policy programs that could never pass in the normal course of events. But the Republicans have been doing that now. This is the 4th time in the last 7 months, using various moments, the necessity of getting an appropriation done, otherwise government will shut down, and now this debt limit, using that as a moment to lever into the policy some really draconian and I think some very, very bad things, like going after Medicare, taking money away and an opportunity away from Americans who want to go to school. And you go, well, what's this all about? And even going after Social Security. You know, that doesn't make any sense. And then absolutely refusing to have shared sacrifice. The Wall Street barons that have literally took this nation to the edge of destruction in the deficit, in the Wall Street meltdown, are going to get off scot-free. The oil companies not paying, we're continuing to give them $5 to $6 billion of our tax money to the oil companies, and Exxon made, what, $10 billion of profit just this last quarter. These things don't make any sense. So shared sacrifice has to be part of this, but it doesn't look good right now.
But the way you're describing things, sir, I mean, it sounds nothing short of heinous. Things are being put out there in terms of from the Democratic perspective. So how can the president and Democrats agree with Republicans on what's out there?
Well, I must tell you, even though it's good to be up in the morning, it's good to see the sun come up, every step along this negotiating process, we've seen the Democratic position erode. And now we seem to be in a position where there will not be shared sacrifice. There's not likely to be any increases in taxes on the Wall Street guys that are paying 15% on their billion-dollar income, or the oil companies taking back our tax money that they've been using, eliminating their subsidies. Those things seem to be off the table. That's really unfortunate, because that leaves us balancing or getting this deficit under control by going after the vulnerable people, the students out there that need to be able to go to school so that our economy can move forward with well-educated workers, school lunch programs, worker safety programs, environmental issue. All these things have been cut repeatedly by the Republicans here in the House of Representatives. So it looks as though we're going at this not in a shared sacrifice way, but rather going after the vulnerable. And there's talk in this town right now that the deal is going to include cuts to Medicare. And I'm going, no way, no how should we do that? It's not right. It simply isn't part of the American values.
Well,
but here we are.
Clearly, there is still a lot of work yet to be done. Representative John Garamendi of California, many thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you.